If you've only got 3 days in Ho Chi Minh City and you're wondering how to see everything that matters, you're in the right place. Most travelers make the mistake of rushing around without a plan and end up missing the city's most incredible experiences. Today I'm breaking down the perfect 72-hour itinerary that covers historic war sites, bustling markets, hidden temples, and authentic street food spots that most tourists never find. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly where to go, when to visit, and how to maximize every single hour. Your first stop needs to be Banh Mi Huynh Hoa at 26 Le Thi Rieng Street in District 1. Most travelers grab hotel breakfast and completely miss out on Vietnam's most iconic street food experience that locals line up for every single morning. This place looks like just another street cart, but there's a reason people wait 30 minutes in the sweltering heat for one sandwich. The Huynh family has been perfecting their recipe for generations, baking fresh baguettes every few hours and using secret sauce combinations passed down through the family. You need to arrive by 7 a.m. to avoid the crowds and get the freshest bread possible. This isn't just breakfast. It's your introduction to authentic Vietnamese flavors that sets the tone for your entire trip and gives you the energy you'll need for the intense historical sites coming up next. After your morning meal, it's time to face the reality that shaped modern Vietnam at the War Remnants Museum on Vo Van Ton Street. This isn't your typical museum. Some exhibits are so intense that visitors need to take breaks, but understanding this history is crucial for grasping today's Vietnam. The most impactful displays include graphic photographs of Agent Orange victims, the actual tiger cages used for prisoners, and a guillotine from the French colonial period. You'll see haunting images captured by war photographers from both sides who lost their lives documenting these conflicts. Military vehicles and weapons fill the courtyard, giving you a tangible connection to the events. Visit between 9 to 11 a.m. when it's cooler and less crowded. Allow 2 or 3 hours and prepare yourself emotionally for graphic content that changed how the world viewed this conflict. Just a short walk from the museum sits Independence Palace, the exact building where the Vietnam War officially ended on April 30th, 1975. The palace looks like a 1960s office building from the outside, but the basement bunkers and communication rooms tell a completely different story. You can explore the preserved rooms where South Vietnamese presidents made their final decisions during the war's last days. The War Command Room still has original maps and communication equipment from the 1970s. The president's living quarters show you how these leaders actually lived during this intense period. Time your visit for late morning around 11 a.m. and spend 90 minutes exploring both the ceremonial rooms upstairs and the fascinating underground bunkers. Standing in these rooms gives you a physical connection to Vietnam's most pivotal moment. The French colonial influence that shaped this city's architecture becomes even more apparent at your next stop. Two blocks away stand the most photographed buildings in Ho Chi Minh City, but most tourists miss the fascinating details. Notre Dame Cathedral's red bricks came from Marseille, France, and there's a reason the church has been closed to visitors since 2017. The ongoing restoration project is preserving 140-year-old architecture, while the adjacent Central Post Office continues operating as it has since 1891. Visit the post office first around 12:30 p.m. to see the beautiful interior maps and send postcards from the Victorian-era wooden phone booths. Then photograph the cathedral's exterior renovation work on those twin towers that soar almost 60 meters above the city. These buildings represent the French colonial period that shaped Saigon's identity before it became Ho Chi Minh City. Between the tourist attractions lies a street that reveals something unexpected about Vietnamese culture: their love of books. Ho Chi Minh City Book Street looks like a simple pedestrian area, but it represents Vietnam's incredible literacy rate of 95%. You'll find outdoor bookstalls everywhere, reading areas where people sit quietly with their books, and cultural events that happen regularly. Locals gather here to discuss literature, and students come to study and browse through hundreds of titles. This street creates a space for intellectual and social activity that goes way beyond just buying books. Visit in the early afternoon around 1 p.m. when students are browsing and the street is most active. This street proves that Ho Chi Minh City values education and culture as much as commerce and tourism. Tourist restaurants serve watered-down Vietnamese food, but Not Tu serves the real thing to locals who know the difference. The restaurant doesn't look like much from the outside at 129 4 Vo Van Ton Street, and the menu is entirely in Vietnamese, but that's exactly why it's perfect. You'll experience authentic flavors without the tourist markup, where dishes are prepared the way Vietnamese families actually cook them at home. The steamed snails stuffed with minced pork have incredible umami and lemongrass fragrance, while the mixed veggies with fish sauce reduction and pork crackling taste like home cooking. Arrive around 1:30 p.m. for lunch, and don't worry about the language barrier. Pointing works perfectly. This meal gives you genuine Vietnamese flavors that most tourists never experience, preparing you for Ben Thanh Market's controlled chaos. Ben Thanh Market is on every tourist itinerary, but 90% of visitors leave frustrated and overwhelmed. The aggressive vendors and tourist prices make this market seem like a trap, but there's a strategy to getting the real experience. Start bargaining at 50% of the asking price and don't be afraid to walk away. Look for stalls with locals shopping there. That's where you'll find quality goods. Keep your valuables in front pockets because pickpockets target distracted tourists browsing through the over 1,500 booths. Visit between 2:30 to 4 p.m. when the heat is manageable and bring small bills for bargaining. Master Ben Thanh Market and you'll understand Vietnamese commerce culture for the rest of your trip. While tourists rush between famous sites, Ho Chi Minh City Museum sits quietly holding the complete story of how Saigon became a modern metropolis. The beautiful colonial building is impressive, but the real treasures are the exhibits that explain the city's transformation. You'll discover artifacts from the Khmer period, French colonial era, and modern development that show how this city evolved over centuries. The struggle for independence exhibits connect to what you saw at the War Remnants Museum, while trade and village handicraft displays show daily life across different eras. Visit around 4:30 p.m. when the afternoon light illuminates the building beautifully, and spend 45 minutes focusing on the city development exhibits. This museum connects all the historical pieces you've seen today into one coherent story of urban evolution. Two of the city's most elegant buildings face each other across a busy street, representing the height of French colonial ambition. Ho Chi Minh City Hall is off-limits to tourists, but the Saigon Opera House offers a glimpse into colonial-era entertainment. Admire the City Hall's yellow facade and clock tower from the outside, then check out the Opera House's ornate interior if there's a performance scheduled. French architect Eugène Ferret designed the Opera House in 1897 to entertain French colonists, with its facade mirroring the style of the Petit Palais in Paris. Visit around 5:30 p.m. when the golden hour light makes both buildings glow, perfect for photography and less crowded than midday. These buildings show how the French tried to recreate Parisian elegance in tropical Southeast Asia. As the sun sets, Nguyen Hue Walking Street transforms from a business district into the city's social heart. During the day, it's just another pedestrian street, but at night, it reveals why Ho Chi Minh City never sleeps. Watch locals gather for evening exercise, street performances, and social time while LED lights illuminate the fountain. And modern sculptures. Families bring children to play in the fountains while young people gather to socialize and take photos. Street performers set up along the walkway, and vendors sell everything from balloons to street snacks. Arrive around 6 p.m. to see the transition from day to night. This street shows you modern Vietnamese urban culture and how the city balances tradition with contemporary life. Vietnamese coffee culture has created unique social spaces throughout the city. Vietnam is the world's second largest coffee exporter, but the cafe apartment at 42 Nguyen Hue Street takes coffee culture to another level entirely. This narrow building looks unremarkable from the street, but inside are dozens of unique cafes stacked vertically across multiple floors. You can explore different floors with completely different atmospheres, from vintage decor to modern minimalism, each serving Vietnamese coffee traditions. The hallways look old and run down, but the cafe interiors are clean and contemporary. Visit around 7 p.m. for the evening coffee culture experience and try Café Sua Da while watching street life below from the windows. This building represents how Ho Chi Minh City maximizes limited space while preserving important cultural traditions. After a day of sightseeing, VK Kitchen serves the kind of home-style Vietnamese cooking that's becoming harder to find. This Michelin Guide restaurant doesn't cater to tourist tastes, which means flavors are intense and authentic but might challenge Western palates. You'll experience traditional cooking methods and family recipes that represent how Vietnamese food actually tastes when prepared for Vietnamese families. Try the Nem Vuong, deep-fried rice paper parcels from Hai Phong City filled with mushrooms and glass noodles, or the Bun V Quay noodle soup with its punchy flavor-packed broth topped with herbs and tofu puffs. Arrive around 8 p.m. for dinner and order the set menu to try multiple dishes. This meal gives you authentic Vietnamese flavors that connect you to the country's culinary heritage. Bui Vien Street represents everything chaotic and energetic about Ho Chi Minh City nightlife compressed into 4 blocks. It's touristy and loud, but it's also where you'll understand why this city has such incredible energy. You'll experience the mix of international backpackers, local young people, street food vendors, and live music that creates Saigon's famous nightlife atmosphere. The street transforms into a night market with traditional clothing, electronics, and souvenirs at affordable prices. Street food stalls line the sidewalk serving local dishes and drinks, while live music spills out from bars and clubs. Visit around 9 p.m. when the street is fully alive, but not yet overwhelmingly crowded. Bui Vien shows you the modern international side of Ho Chi Minh City and why it attracts visitors from around the world. While tourists sleep in, locals line up at Tieu Nam Vang Dat for the noodle soup that defines Saigon mornings. This tiny shop serves only one dish, but it's so good that customers travel across the city just for breakfast. You'll discover the perfect balance of pork broth, fresh rice noodles, and toppings that makes this Cambodia-influenced soup a Saigon staple. The savory broth combines with minced pork, shrimp, wontons, and fresh herbs to create complex flavors and textures that wake up your taste buds. Arrive by 7:30 a.m. to get a seat and watch the organized chaos of the kitchen preparing hundreds of bowls for the morning rush. This breakfast connects you to authentic Saigon food culture and gives you energy for exploring District 5's cultural diversity. Binh Tay Market serves the entire Mekong Delta region, making Ben Thanh Market look like a tourist gift shop. This is where real business happens, with wholesale prices and serious negotiations. But tourists are welcome to observe the action. You'll explore the organized chaos of Vietnam's largest wholesale market, where goods from across Southeast Asia are traded in massive quantities. The octagonal layout with 12 gates spans 25,000 square meters, and stalls showcase everything from household essentials to precious metals and gemstones. Visit around 9 a.m. when the serious trading happens and bring a camera for the incredible scenes, but respect that this is a working market. Binh Market shows you the commercial engine that drives southern Vietnam's economy and serves the Chinese Vietnamese community that has shaped District 5's character. Quan Am Pagoda sits in the heart of Cholon, where Chinese Vietnamese traditions have been preserved for over a century. The temple looks ancient, but it's actually a living center of worship where locals come for serious spiritual needs. You'll experience the thick incense smoke, elaborate altars, and constant stream of worshipers seeking blessings for business, health, and family. The pagoda is dedicated to Guanyin, the Chinese goddess of mercy, but also incorporates Pure Land worship, Taoism, and folk worship of the Fujianese sea goddess Mazu. Visit around 10:30 a.m. when morning prayers are active, remove your hat, speak quietly, and observe the fascinating fusion of Chinese and Vietnamese Buddhism. This temple shows how immigrant communities have enriched Ho Chi Minh City's spiritual landscape. Tuệ Than Assembly Hall represents how Chinese immigrants created support networks that still function today. This isn't just a tourist attraction. It's an active community center where real business and social connections happen between Chinese Vietnamese families. You'll discover intricate wood carvings throughout the building, ancestral altars with offerings, and meeting rooms where Chinese Vietnamese families have gathered for generations. Built by Fujian immigrants in the early 18th century, the main altar features a prominent yin and yang symbol that connects to traditional Chinese beliefs. Visit around 11:30 a.m. when the hall is open but not crowded, and spend time appreciating the craftsmanship and cultural artifacts. This assembly hall demonstrates how immigrant communities have maintained their identity while contributing to Vietnamese culture. And this cultural preservation extends to the commercial traditions of Chinese merchants. And Dong Market specializes in textiles and fashion, showing how Ho Chi Minh City connects to regional and international trade networks. The market looks overwhelming with thousands of stalls, but there's a system to finding quality goods at wholesale prices. Navigate the different floors specializing in fabrics, finished clothing, and accessories while learning to distinguish between local and imported goods. You'll find traditional Vietnamese garments alongside items from Guangzhou, Japan, and Thailand. Compare prices before buying and don't be afraid to ask vendors about their products. Visit around 12:30 p.m. when it's less crowded and bring cash for better prices. And Dong Market reveals the textile industry that employs millions of Vietnamese workers and connects to global fashion supply chains. For lunch around 1:30 p.m., head to Bo Co Gan tucked under the Gia 2 apartment complex on Su Van Han Street in District 10. This Michelin Bib Gourmand winner serves Vietnamese beef stew in traditional clay pots with tender chunks of slow-cooked beef, carrots, lemongrass, and star anise floating in a rich broth. The Michelin Guide describes it as rich and naturally sweet, and you can pair it with crusty banh mi for dipping. Owner Ta Thi Minh Nguyen's family has run this spot since 1975, originally as a sweet soup stall before switching to beef stew about a decade ago. The comforting food and soul-filled cooking make this an essential Saigon experience before heading to Chiu Lieu Cafe. Chiu Lieu Cafe is the oldest cafe in Ho Chi Minh City and offers something most cafes can't, a panoramic view of the city's rapid development. The cafe is hidden on an upper floor, but the view reveals the dramatic changes happening across the skyline. You'll observe the mix of French colonial buildings, Soviet-era apartments, and gleaming new skyscrapers that tell the story of Vietnam's economic transformation. The interior features old radios, antique furniture, and vintage enamel cups that transport you back in time. Visit around 3 p.m. when the afternoon light is perfect for photography and the heat makes air conditioning especially welcome. This vantage point shows how Ho Chi Minh City is balancing historical preservation with modern development. From that historic cafe perspective, head over to Bitexco Financial Tower's Sky Deck for the best views in Ho Chi Minh City. This building represents much more than just a tourist attraction. The tower symbolizes Vietnam's economic transformation, but from the top, you can also see the challenges of rapid urban growth. Take in 360-degree views that show the Saigon River, dense urban neighborhoods, and construction cranes building tomorrow's skyline. The architectural design was inspired by the lotus flower, connecting Vietnamese culture with modern ambition. Visit around 4 p.m. when visibility is good and crowds are manageable. Spend time identifying landmarks you visited and understanding the city's layout. From this height, you can see how Ho Chi Minh City is evolving from a war-torn city into a modern metropolis. After taking in those modern city views, head over to Jade Emperor Pagoda, where you'll feel like stepping into another world. The incense smoke and candlelight create an almost mystical atmosphere that's completely different from anything else you've seen. The temple is dedicated to the Taoist ruler of heaven, but the interior is filled with Buddhist and folk religion elements that can be confusing. You'll navigate dimly lit halls filled with statues of gods, demons, and legendary figures while local worshippers perform elaborate rituals around you. Visit around 5:30 p.m. when the late afternoon creates dramatic lighting effects through the incense smoke, but be respectful of active worship. This temple shows how Vietnamese spirituality blends multiple religious traditions into something uniquely Vietnamese. After the temple's mystical atmosphere, head over to Tan Dinh Parish Church, where you'll see that Ho Chi Minh City's architectural diversity extends beyond French colonial and traditional Vietnamese styles. The bright pink Gothic church looks almost surreal against the tropical landscape, but it serves an active Catholic community. You can admire the unique color choice, Gothic revival architecture with pointed arches and rose windows, and how the building has been adapted for Vietnam's climate and culture. Visit around 6:30 p.m. when the setting sun makes the pink facade glow, and you might hear evening prayers or see wedding photography sessions. This church represents the Catholic community that has been part of Vietnamese society for centuries. After experiencing the city's religious diversity, head over to Vinh Con Food Street in District 4, where evening food culture brings together all communities. Vinh Con Food Street comes alive at night when dozens of vendors create an outdoor dining experience that defines Ho Chi Minh City food culture. The street looks chaotic with plastic stools and makeshift kitchens, but this is where you'll find some of the city's best food. You'll experience the social atmosphere of street dining, where families, friends, and strangers share tables while enjoying everything from grilled seafood to exotic fruits. Arrive around 7:30 p.m. when the street is fully active, bring cash, be adventurous with your choices, and don't worry about language barriers. This street food experience shows how eating is a social activity that brings together all levels of Vietnamese society. Tomorrow's adventure will take you outside the city to understand the history that shaped modern Vietnam. Day 3 takes you outside Ho Chi Minh City to the Cu Chi Tunnels, where you'll literally go underground to understand the Vietnam War. The tunnels look impossibly small, but 16,000 people lived and fought in this underground network for years. You'll crawl through the claustrophobic passages, see the ingenious booby traps, and learn how this tunnel system helped change the course of history. The network stretches over 250 kilometers and provided hiding places, hospitals, communication hubs, supply routes, and living quarters for Viet Cong soldiers. Book a half-day tour departing around 8 a.m., wear comfortable clothes you don't mind getting dirty, and prepare for a physically challenging but unforgettable experience. The Cu Chi tunnels give you a visceral understanding of Vietnamese determination and ingenuity that no museum can provide. After the emotional intensity of the Cu Chi tunnels, Cum Tam Ba Gian serves the kind of simple, satisfying food that feels like a warm hug. Cơm tam looks like just rice with meat, but this humble dish represents the resourcefulness of Vietnamese home cooking. You'll discover how broken rice, originally considered waste from the milling process, became one of Vietnam's most beloved comfort foods when paired with grilled pork and traditional sides. This restaurant has been serving generous portions since the 1990s with flavorful marinated pork chops. Return to the city around 1 p.m. and head straight here for lunch. Order the full set with fried egg and pickled vegetables for the complete experience. This meal shows how Vietnamese cuisine transforms simple ingredients into deeply satisfying food that nourishes both body and soul. After that comfort food, Vinhome's Central Park and Landmark 81 represent the future of Ho Chi Minh City, but they also highlight the growing wealth gap. This gleaming development looks like Singapore or Dubai, but it sits in a city where many people still live in basic housing. You can explore Vietnam's tallest building and the upscale shopping complex that caters to the country's growing middle class and international residents. Vincom Center Landmark 81 features over 100 prestigious international brands inside the tower. Visit around 3 p.m. when the air conditioning provides relief from the heat, and observe the contrast with the neighborhoods you've explored. This development shows Vietnam's economic progress while raising questions about development priorities and social equity. Since this is your last day, this stop is perfect for last-minute souvenir shopping. While tourists pay premium prices at Thanh Market, locals shop at Saigon Square for the same goods at a fraction of the cost. The mall looks modern and organized, but finding quality items among the knockoffs requires skill and patience. You'll learn to distinguish between genuine products and copies while experiencing how middle-class Vietnamese people actually shop for clothes and accessories. Start bargaining at about half the initial asking price, and don't be afraid to walk away if the price isn't right. Visit around 4:30 p.m. when it's air-conditioned comfort after a hot day, and bring cash for better deals. Saigon Square shows how locals navigate between authentic and imitation goods. After your budget shopping experience, head over to Ho Thi Qui Food Street for the perfect finale to your 3 days. This bustling street brings together all the flavors and experiences you've discovered. With so many options and only one last evening, choosing what to eat becomes a delicious dilemma. Sample dishes you haven't tried yet, revisit favorites from your 3 days, and soak up the evening atmosphere of locals enjoying their city. Arrive around 7 p.m. for the full evening experience and pace yourself to try multiple dishes. This final food adventure celebrates the incredible diversity and quality of Ho Chi Minh City's culinary scene. Food has been your gateway to understanding Vietnamese culture, history, and daily life. These 3 days have shown you the real Ho Chi Minh City. Not just the tourist sites, but the living culture that makes this city special. You've eaten where locals eat, shopped where they shop, and experienced the blend of history and modernity that defines Vietnam today. If this itinerary inspired you, book your trip and follow these exact steps. Travel with respect and curiosity. Ho Chi Minh City represents Vietnam's future while honoring its past, and understanding this balance is key to appreciating modern Vietnam. Hit that like button if this helped you plan your trip, subscribe for more travel guides, and comment below with your Ho Chi Minh City questions.